The following changes have occurred over the past 24 hours. Fighting continues in the Kharkiv direction. In the area of Volchansk, as before, assault groups are putting pressure on areas from Staritsa to the estuary. South of Prilipka, in a wooded area, the gunners used thermobars to treat the position of the Ukrainian armed forces. There is also a sign that the APU is in this place. A small clarification is being made on the collision line. In the western and southwestern parts of Staritsa, the AFU position is being covered with remote weapons. This action shows a hit at the enemy's temporary location. On the western side of the Seversky Donets River, the infantry is also advancing southward. The working process for the subsequent liberation of this village remains in the Alkani farms. Of the defenders, 2 decided to surrender, as they had been without rotation for a month. Their command forbids their subordinates to evacuate the wounded, which leads to additional natural losses of the armed forces due to the harsh conditions. To the east, on the approaches to the Nikolaevka site, dugouts and Russian troops are trying to expand the territory they took in July last year. The SU showed shelling with the use of artillery and drones. The presence of fighters was indicated. The control area is expanded to the marked points. The fighters came almost close to Nestanoy. We also approached Krugloy and almost bordering Sandy from the east side. Already on the 17th, there was a sign of pressure from the Russian infantry when the enemy mined the bridge in Nikolaevka. Then it was rendered unusable by a Russian drone. The Ukrainian side hopes to hold positions along the Volchye River in the future. Russian troops are gradually developing an offensive between the Volchansk and Great Britain sectors of the front. During the day, enemy losses exceeded 110 personnel in the North Group's area of responsibility in the Kharkiv region. 12 UAV control points were destroyed. The Ukrainian armed forces are resisting with artillery. Russian operators are fighting a counter-battery battle. Further south, in the area of the Kanashkin Tract, aerial reconnaissance tracked the return route of the crew of the BM-21 jet system, along with the escort transport. The operators waited for the moment when the equipment would be hidden in the forest belt. After that, the entrance was lowered onto the geranium. At a minimum, the multiple launch rocket system was destroyed. The drones were shown burning it. Gorenje. There is still active fighting in the Konstantinovsky area. The processing of Ukrainian forces continues to be recorded in the hours of Yaria and its surroundings. In the first example, the Ukrainian position in the ruins of an apartment building is striking. Work is also underway on neighboring houses to make it more difficult for the enemy to cling to this part of the Yuzhny micro-district. The recent footage also showed the processing of the APU in the forest belt, which is located just northeast of the Metallurg Garden Society. There was another defeat a little to the west in the same landing. Also, a video clip published on January 9th on the enemy's position involved 3 kamikaze drones in the same number of forest belts, only to the east. One more example will be added. In the southern part of the Yara clock, the Russian side indicated the presence of the enemy in the forest area. The defeat of this place is shown. Additionally, geomaterial is applied, which confirms that the event occurred there. Taking into account the above, an adjustment is made with the removal of the protrusion, and the line of contact is additionally shifted to the marked location. Meanwhile, the soldiers of the 3rd Corps continue to break down the defenses of the Ukrainian garrison in the southeastern part of the city. The Ukrainian armed forces discovered a Russian position on the territory of the Metallurg Garden Society. The kamikaze drones hit her. The situation of the Russian side is improving slightly. As before, Russian drones regularly hover over the Druzhkovka-Konstantinovka main logistics route. In the western part of the city, the operator, having discovered 2 APU pickups, began the targeting process. By that time, most likely, the enemy had managed to stop them. As a result, the rear car flew in. The drone guide showed the burning of 2 pickups, which showed their destruction. Gorenje further south, work is underway to advance to the southern outskirts of Konstantinovka. This is at least the 2nd time that an enemy presence has been noticed in the western part of Vanapolis. In the recent shooting, the Ukrainian force stood relatively calmly in an open place. The operator destroyed a small group of Ukrainian armed forces with 1 hit. Additional exploration was also carried out. Earlier, text information related to the enemy's presence in Ivanopolis appeared in the information field. The line shifts slightly. The site remains active. Russian troops continue to hit Ukrainian military installations. Last night, south of Novobakhmetyevo, the operator detected the launch of a rocket from the HIMARS rocket system. The crew launched to a distance of about 40 kilometers from the front line. After the launch, the enemy began to turn back. It was enough for the car to travel a little more than 5 kilometers. The strike drone of the Rubicon Center hit the launcher in motion. There was no objective control, however. Its destruction was announced. The fighting continues.